Hello and welcome to the Gemini CLI series. Today we talk about hooks, but before we talk about hooks, let's talk about the agent lifecycle. This is a simplified version of the agent lifecycle, and it all starts with the session start event. This event is happening after you type in Gemini into your terminal, and then it waits for you to type in your prompt. And after you typed in your prompt, it goes into the planning and reasoning step. Of course, it sometimes needs more information, so it asks you to execute a tool, and then there is this tool execution step. This could be write a file, read a file, search for a file, and then after the loop is done, so basically the planning and reasoning is done, there is the final response, and of course the session end event. So what are hooks in this lifecycle? Hooks, you can think of custom scripts that you can execute between those steps. So for example, after the session starts, you can execute custom scripts or programs after or before the planning and reasoning step, before and after the tool execution, and of course, before and after the final response, and of course, the session end event. Let's have a look at the detailed overview of the hooks itself. So for example, here is the session start event that we also saw before. You can write a hook that basically executes a script after the session start is happening. So there's the session start hook. When you enter your prompt, then usually this is before the agent starts. So there is the before agent hook. Then of course it goes into the model phase. So you can say, okay, before you choose a model, I want to have a before model hook. And now with the tool requested phase, if there is a tool that needs to be executed by the LLM, there is the before tool hook. And then, of course, there is this tool execution. And here are some examples of tools that can happen. For example, you can modify a file or basically write a file, replace a file. There's an action on the shell, so you can run shell commands. And of course, read a file or search for a file. And then there will be this after tool hook. It all goes back to the model phase again. And then, of course, the before model hook is happening. And you maybe already see the tool execution can happen quite often. So for example, if you want to write a lot of files, then this tool execution is happening very, very often. And this loop is happening until the agent is done. And of course, whenever the agent is done and no tool is requested anymore, so the LLM is confident, or Gemini is confident that it's done, there is this after agent hook. And of course, there is again the final response and then the session end hook. And of course, the session end at the very end. This overview of all different hooks, you can look up, of course, the Gemini CLI documentation. Here's an overview of all hooks. And one of the most important hooks are the after tool hook and the after agent hook. Because you as a developer, you want to make sure that the agent is doing the right things. Because you can decide if you want to continue, like normally, or you can deny. And deny means, okay, whatever you did, please fix the lint issues first. Or even after agent, you can run your test suite. You can, of course, run the integration test if you want, and then say, hey, please, before you end this agent session, please fix these errors first. And then, of course, it goes back to the agent loop again to fix these errors, and then the after tool hook is happening again, or the after agent. So you would basically make sure that the agent is doing it correctly. So that's why the after tool and after agent is very important for all developers. All right, that's it for today. Thank you very much, and see you next time.